Well, as always folks, welcome to Heritage House TV, and today we're kind of looking at a bit of a conundrum with a big old house that's about to be restored. What do we do with it, and why are there problems? And in this case, I don't know, the dog's done a bit of damp sniffing and she's found some damp, but let's concentrate on this. Paintwork is coming off. Why? And it's going to come down to the fact this is a gorgeous old building, but you know what, somebody's gone to a lot of trouble to point this whole building with cement, and when we look at it you can see the paint's coming off, and can you see that stuck to the back of the paint is a thin strip of cement, and all the way through, as I pick this off, you'll see that behind it, I don't know if you can just see that, there's a little strip of paint coming off, but with it is cement, and you can see it's quite wet because there's little wood lice and things in there, and we're pulling this off, and this is moisture trapped by, and there you can actually see it stuck to the back of that piece of plastic, this plastic paint, and you can see a strip of cement, and that cement is the pointing that all the way, you can see it in there, right across here, and it's trapping moisture. And I've been having a bit of a hack here. Widen it out. This is under one of the stone sills to one of the windows, and the problem is what's happened to this, the stonework, the drip underneath the drip rail has deteriorated, and I think moisture is actually running back on under the stone, under the sill, and down the wall. But again, you can see original lime mortar here, but in places you will see how there is cement. You can see that there's grey cement here that's been filled in over it, and if we look at some of these, we can just see stuck to the back of that paint is cement. It's only a very thin strip of it, but that thin strip of cement is enough to cause quite a lot of damage in terms of trapping moisture into the building. And if I try and give you an idea of just what I'm talking about here, this is a slightly different problem because I think there's water coming down from that hopper, and I think it's spreading out. The hopper is blocked and it's spreading out into that wall. But if we walk round, and you'll see the extent of what happens to a building if you start covering it with plastic paint, and this whole building has been covered in plastic paint. And if I just walk down, you can get a feel for just how big this place is. There you go. It's a rather large house, and it was it's been turned into a girls' school. It's a right mess inside, but what we're trying to do at the moment is work out why this brickwork is deteriorating. And if you take a look, you can see that actually quite a lot of it there are problems. It's peeling there, and it's peeling there, and if you look on the other wall there, it's all peeling, and up there, and across on that front face there. So why is this going on? Big old building, a lot of quite minor issues really, but the thing is, what do you do? I think the answer is going to come down to the fact that it's painted. You can't paint this kind of building. You can see here we've got lime mortar and we've got paint, and you can see this thick coats of plastic paint, and that is 9/10 of 3/4 of the problem. You cannot cover a building like this in plastic paint and expect it to stay dry. You will cause problems with painting it. So I think the strategy with this building, the more we look at it, is that all of this paint has to come off. And if you look around, there's a slightly more exposed elevation around here, and you'll see even more problems. And I think it's all paint related. And if you look up there, you'll see the whole elevation is covered in this plastic paint, and I think that all needs to come off. You can see that the whole wall is really suffering, and the wall is trying to lose moisture from behind that plastic paint through the mortar joints, which is why it's peeling actually on the mortar joints, because that is how the building loses moisture. If there's anything trapped into the wall, it's going to get trapped in on those joints. And you come across to this side here and you can look again, you can see it's peeling around the mortar joints. It always peels around mortar joints. And again, down the bottom there, it's peeling on the mortar joints. So just a little bit of a, as always, a bit of a summary about what to do and what not to do. And this is, yet again, it's an old building built with lime, and it needs to breathe. And if it is not allowed to breathe and you slap plastic paint on it, it will deteriorate. Now I think you can see there on top of that little portico, it's possible there's a bit of water getting in through some of the lead work there. That might be a separate problem because it's quite linear. You can see that just below that box that's hanging off the wall, there seems to be a sort of a line that runs along horizontally. If I can point it out, that line there, and that may well actually correspond with the lead flashing inside the roof of the portico up there, and perhaps there's a little bit of moisture getting in under the stonework. So there's possibly separate issues here, but we've checked up behind the top of that brick wall, behind the parapets, and the leadwork doesn't seem to be too bad at all. So I'm just not quite sure what's going on here, but I think this is mainly just a very exposed face with a lot of weather hitting it, and it just doesn't like it. So we need to get the paint off. So there you go, there's one problem. There's another one inside I'll show you.